Hi, welcome guys. Today we are going to learn something called as the match function. The match function, like the name itself says, it's used to learn the concept of match the following that we used to do in our school days. It is going to take a value from one particular cell or a column and try and find the location, or you could say the reference of that particular cell in the other column that is mentioned here. It will exactly tell you, it is not going to find the cell reference. I mean, it's not going to tell you that it is located in the row number or B6 or B7 or E5 or E10 or something like that, but it is going to tell you the location of that particular value in another row or column. For instance, in this cell, we have a column where we have taken certain names and certain social security numbers. I have another column with the same social security numbers, but these numbers are actually jumbled up. That means they are sorted in a asystematic way. That means they are not in a linear fashion. Now we are going to try and use the match function to find out this value. That means the value in the cell E2 is in which location in the column B. So let's start with the match function. I hope you guys can follow me as I do the function. I'm going to select this particular value, that is the cell E2. In front of that, I'm going to type match function. The match function goes by starting by equal to sign, and then you put the match function, bracket opens, and now it is asking me for the lookup value. If you look at the hints below, it will help you out a lot while creating and putting the formulas. I'm going to say I'm going to look at this value, right? So I'm going to select the cell E2, comma, and I'm going to look for this value in the column B. So I'm not going to select the entire cell in this way, rather than I'm going to select the entire column itself from the top. And there we go, we get B colon B on the formula, comma, and now it is going to ask me specifically whether we want to do a less than match or an exact match or a greater than match. So in this case, I'm going to select 0 for exact match because we want to exactly match the content of the cell E2 in the column B. So 0 for exact match, bracket close, and enter. There you go. The formula is as easy as you can see. All you got to do is drag your formula down. The not applicable error comes up in this formula because it is not able to exactly match the values in this cell with any of the values in the column B. That means the values in the cell E4 and cell E10 in this case do not exist in the column B. So you get the not applicable error in these cases. I have kept these errors to make you understand also the kind of errors that come up while performing a particular formula. So there you go, the match function is as easy as that. However, we are going to try and use the match function in a little different scenario and in combination with some other formulas, which makes it quite interesting. Let's scroll to the right side of the screen. We have another example set up for you guys. If you can see the example, I'm just going to try and sort the columns out a little bit so that you can see the names in the frame itself. I have a column which mentions the last name of a particular person, the first name of a particular person, and the sales of that particular salesperson. And in the column P and Q, if you can see, I have the same names which are mentioned over here, but they are actually merged up together in different columns. For instance, let's see the name Randall Yon that we can see in the column J2 and K2. I can find the name as a combined format over here in the column P in the cell number P13. However, in this case, the name is broken up into two different columns. So we are going to use one other formula called as concatenation to merge these two columns. The concat formula can be done in two different ways. We are going to look at both the ways, and then we are going to use the match function to find the name Randall Yon and all the other names from the column P. So we are going to perform two different operations over here and in combination with the match function. So let's try and start with the concat formula first. The concat formula is quite an easy formula. I'll start with the easiest method that there is to understand the formula. Before we start with the concatenation, let's also try and understand the format over here. After the first name that you can see, or the last name you can see over here, in this case Anderson, comma, there is a space after that, and then there is the first name coming up. So we have to follow the same format while concatenating so that we can do an exact match at the end of the day. So let's do the concatenation in this case. The first easiest method to do the concatenation is to start with the equal to sign, and I'm going to select the first last name, that means Randall in this case, and then I'm going to use a conjunctor. That means it is going to be used as a compound statement to add two columns or two cells. Let's say ampersand or and symbol in this case works as a conjunctor, so I'm using J2 and K2. So if you want to merge up two columns, we are going to simply use J2 and K2, and there you go. Once we press enter, you are going to get the name combined in a single format. However, if you look at the formats over here, you can also see a comma separated with and a space in between the two columns. So in order to add those two particular string values, we will need to conjunct something in between them. So if we want to add an additional string value between the two cell references, what we got to do is, after the and symbol, I'm going to do a simple double quotes, and inside the double quotes I am going to type a comma sign, because we want a comma after J2, that is after Randall, and a space because we also want a space after the last name and in between the last name and the first name. And after the double quote ends, you will have to put another ampersand sign to merge the two references. So there is J2, that means the first cell reference, which is merged with the comma and the space using the ampersand sign. Again the center part is merged with the cell reference K2 with the ampersand sign, and there you go. Once we just press enter and drag the entire formula down, we will get the desired output. So let's look at another version of the concatenate formula. In this case, we are going to use a function to create the same column as that we have created in this particular case. I'm going to delete the values in this particular column and recreate it using a particular function. So let's start. The formula name stands as concatenate, so equals to concatenate. You can see the formula over here. Just double click on it. The formula follows the same method as we had done in the previous session, in the previous part specifically. However, we just have to replace the ampersand sign with the comma. So I'm going to select the last name in this case, that is J2, comma. I'm going to merge it with a comma and a space inside double quotes. Again a comma, and then comes the first name. In this case, instead of the ampersand sign, there is going to be a comma. There is no difference in the formula. Only thing is, we are going to use the function in the first place, and then instead of the ampersand sign, we are going to use the comma, and we are going to follow the same format and press enter, and there you go. We can use the function or the previous method which we had done to recreate this formula in the way we like. So let's try and use the match function now to find the values on the column M and match them with the column P. So in the cell N2, I'll start typing the match formula equals to match, as you have already done before. I'm going to select this particular name, comma. I want to find the name Randall Yawn in the particular column P colon P. So I'm going to select the entire column, in this case P colon P. You can be more specific if you want. You can go and select the entire column, in this case in this particular format. But before dragging the entire formula down, all you got to do is select the cell reference and make it absolute by pressing the F4 function key to make it an absolute reference by putting $ signs before P, 1, P and 18 in this case, comma. And finally, it is going to ask me whether you want to do an exact match or a less than match or a greater than match. Which we want to do is the exact match. So I'm going to select 0 in this case, bracket close, and enter. There you go. I can find Randall Leon in the 13th row of the column P. All I got to do is drag the formula down, and there you go, we have the formula in the way we want. Not applicable error, as I mentioned earlier, comes only when we are not able to find these particular values in this particular column. So this is the particular use of a match function. The match function can be used in conjunction with some very interesting functions like the index function. It is used also in conjunction with the VLOOKUP functions, which we'll be looking at in the sessions ahead. So please stay tuned and do subscribe and do like my videos. You may place your feedback and comments in the comment section below specifically, and ask any questions or queries you might have with respect to the same. Don't forget to press the bell icon and stay home and stay safe. Ciao.